Hello everyone, this is Sarah Fay of Roots and Resonance. I'm here with a bit of a impromptu video today in the woods, not far from my new home here in the Calder Valley, and I've been foraging for the very first wild garlic today, this new moon. This new moon energy that's around at the moment, starting to tap into a sense of growth and abundance coming through still very cold winter time that is with us. So having just left in bulk time, that first spring awakening festival, first signs of spring coming now, very much so in the landscape, and being able to honour that in ourselves as well. As it's new moon time, often I do shoot these videos on the new moon, so I felt compelled to do so, and to offer you a reading will hopefully give you some insight or inspiration around this pre-spring time here in the Northern Hemisphere. And of course, for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, anyone who's watching this from the kind of opposite seasonal time of year to here in the UK, you know, you'll be looking into kind of the later summertime now and the early autumn time. So that'll be an important time for you to think about maybe different energies at this point in time, different themes seasonally, but of course this reading applies to anyone at this point in time, and I hope there's some inspiration in that for you. So yeah, I want you to meet one of my strong plant allies and companions in the culinary and also nourishing healing world, which is the wild garlic plant. This is the beautiful shiny leaf with that very prominent mid-rib or vein in the back, slightly shinier, very kind of luscious green leaf. So obviously if you're foraging, I'm not a foraging expert by any stretch of the imagination, so please do, even though it's very common in the UK and many of you may even know this from your childhood, known as ramsons or wild garlic, do obviously check a good foraging guidebook, maybe even cross-reference it with a couple of options, watch a video perhaps online by a forager or someone. So yeah, there's lots of good resources out there, but this is a fantastically abundant, nourishing plant, and for me, quite a fiery herb really. And a lot of the plants around at the moment, we're seeing the very beginnings here of the nettles, the nettle shoots, and of course nettles as well as wild garlic make a fantastic soup. They're a great tonic for any lost, depleted energy in the body over the winter time. They're a great sort of kind of waking up herb, really. Combinational soup can be made. You can combine them together to help wake up the body, cleanse out the liver, cleanse out the kidneys, the digestive system, wake up the digestive enzymes, perhaps as a starter to a meal, or a meal in itself. If you add a bit of potato to the soup, it could be a bit more substantial. So that's wild garlic, a nettle soup with maybe some onion, some butter, lots of butter, or lots of maybe coconut oil, the odorless coconut oil for anyone who's vegan, and getting that good quality solid fat in there, good pure fat, so you can also nourish yourself as well, as it is still winter time here in the Northern Hemisphere, making sure that you can have a really nourishing soup, as well as one that's also reviving to the body and helping us wake up to the springtime energy, which is very gradually coming here to us now. And it's just lovely to see behind me. I don't know if you can see behind me, this whole kind of area here is pretty much wild garlic, so abundant. And obviously I'm not going to reveal the exact location, but you may have your own version of it, so try a woodland, wetland, mossy kind of wood. Great sign, indicator of wild garlic. Any kind of, at the moment you might be looking at places where it's a bit rocky as well, so there's microclimates where it's growing, because it's still quite early, it's only February, so you know, wild garlic can be in abundance until May and be very healthy for you to eat in May time, as well as healthy now, eating those young fresh shoots, which can be quite a wake up to the body, as I said earlier, and the mind. And do connect with these plants in a spiritual way if that's your thing, if you feel energetically connected to these plants, or you feel your body's really crying out for them. Dandelion is another good one as well for waking up the system and clearing out any toxins that have built up over the winter time, that more sluggish time of year. Yeah, they make a great combination. So with wild garlic present with us here and now, that lovely fiery awakening energy. I'm going to make that into a beautiful soup later on. I've not got loads of it because I still feel like I'm going to wait for some of it to get a little bit bigger, but I would like to make some soup just with the wild garlic and the nettle, but I think tonight I'm going to have it with some root vegetables as well, because I'm still feeling that need to be comforted by plants of the earth deep in the soil, the root plants, the root veg with their starchy, carby, minerally goodness and vitamins, and so mixing the wild garlic, that was going to be something new. It's really great to actually start foraging again, to find wild plants growing in my local area, and this is a new area to me to live in, so it's great to get to know them. And I encourage you to do the same. If you're somewhere where there are new plants coming up, depending on what season it is, it can be quite connecting for you to connect with the plants that grow locally in your neighbourhood, and actually, as long as you're IDing them correctly, of course, and safely, and preparing them safely and thoroughly, you're adding something into your diet that helps you connect to not only your ancestors who would have been eating those foods from that land and that landscape, or ancestors of the people who live in that land if they're not your own, which is also very connecting as well, and honouring of the nutrition that you need in your body at this time of year, as well as connecting with a kind of deep rewilding of the spirit, rewilding of the body, rewilding of the gut, essentially, because I've heard also that wild garlic is, and indeed the allium family, for those who can tolerate quite strong garlic and onion flavours, is also prebiotic, so it feeds the gut microbiome, which is connected now to so much research around the importance of the microbiome, the health and diversity of that, which is something that's really lacking in the common Western diet, or in the processed food diet, high sugar and so on, or high stress, really. I mean, stress is a very, very damaging, and, illness and things like that, that can be very damaging to the gut biome, which is where most of our immune system is based, as well as also having a big effect on our mood and how we feel day to day. So nourishing the gut microbiome with foods like wild garlic is really on your doorstep, free, healthy, organic, abundant way to do so. And obviously looking at where you pick the food from, so making sure that when you're picking leaves in particular can hold a lot of toxins in, so looking for spots that are nice and clean with no stagnant water, or if there's been, like here in the Calder Valley, there's been a lot of floods recently, so picking an uncontaminated space where there isn't any sort of water that looks or smells a bit dodgy, doing a bit of research maybe if there's farmers' fields nearby and there's a lot of runoff near roads. Just do your research basically and pick somewhere that looks really pure and clean, nice clean earth and no litter or dog rubbish or dog waste. So anyway, that's a little tip for you. So I'm not a forager professionally, so I very much do this in my own pastime, so please do look at all the many wonderful resources out there. If you're from Calderdale, I'd recommend looking up Live Wild Calderdale. I'm going to plug them because they're amazing. They offer some brilliant foraging courses. They're good friends of mine, so please look up Live Wild Calderdale, and they're running some wonderful spring foraging courses, and you can learn all about wild garlic and many other beautiful plants if you're in this area and attend their courses, and you'll get to taste them and cook with them as well. So nothing better really for connecting with your local environment in a very sociable way as well. So yeah. Now moving on to the reading that I have for you, which is also very much of the time and energy, very spring-like reading. So I asked, when I was shuffling the cards here in this beautiful wildwood setting, I'm using the Wildwood Tarot today, I asked about what kind of energy can those who are viewing this reading, offering this video, what kind of energy can be tapped into now beneficially for people's healing and growth at this time. So I pulled this card very appropriately from the Wildwood Tarot deck, the Green Man, or the Green One, depending on how you want to refer to them. This beautiful archetypal energy of spring-like dynamism and growth. So we have an assertive, dynamic, boundary-holding, boundary-tending energy. It's also about creativity. The Green One, or the Green Man, in their many forms. There's also the Green Woman in this deck, but for those who are more queer amongst us, like myself, who are non-binary in our gender connection or expression, this energy is very much of the life force of spring. That's how I would view it. And of course, the Green Man, the Green Woman, the Green One is someone that you can see in ancient churchyards, for example. Even the stonemasons who built medieval churches, you can see in the intricate ceilings or knotwork green ones. the fairy beings, the ones of the wild wood, hiding in various corners. Roslin Glen up near Edinburgh, Roslin Chapel, beautiful place to go and see some of that incredible artwork if you're in Scotland ever. So this energy is very, very ancient, primal energy, as of course many of the Wildwood tarot cards are tapping into that ancient primal energy that's very archetypal and supportive. So at this time, the energy that can bring the most healing and growth is the energy of the earth. So as I've just said, foraging for wild plants that bring growth and awakening to the body and spirit, starting to gently move out of rest, gently out of the slumbering, but into the dream time, into dreaming your seed sowing for the year ahead, your ambitions, your plans, starting to move into a gentle but clearly assertive way of tapping into your creativity at this time is a great way to bring healing and growth after the winter season. As we are starting to see here in the Northern Hemisphere, an increase in light, an increase in the amount of daylight happening at the moment. It's definitely coming towards the spring equinox in the next few weeks. So it is a time to start looking at what creative projects, visions or inspirations can you draw into your life now, even in the smallest details. And just noticing that in the landscape around you can be one way of tuning into that. Another way of tuning into that may simply be journaling or doing some artwork to focus on what are your dreams and visions for the year ahead. Could be even for longer term ahead, depending on what context you're in right now. It might be dreams and visions, not only for yourself, but for humankind, for the more than human world. We certainly need visionaries, healers, dreamers, those who are connected to the earth as much as they are connected to their own personal story right now. So there are many ways of looking into this symbol, because this is a symbol of the wild wood speaking to us of guardianship of nature and the land, and the powerful, playful, trickster-like energy that exists within that world. So obviously we're looking at a playful spring-like energy that very much enjoys the surroundings, but with it a clarity and an assertiveness that goes with that. So a great time for planning, visioning, dreaming up new ideas and putting that initiatory energy into starting things, even if it's just new routines or habits that help you feel more alive and more present to yourself and to the world around you. So this card has also been accompanied by a rune. So I usually draw a rune alongside my card readings. A Norse rune, we have Fehu. Fehu is the rune of Freya, the goddess of spring. Also a rune that it's the word itself, Fehu, is related to cattle and its archetypal kind of roots and origins in the Norse tradition. And cattle would be wealth to the Norse people and the ancient ancestors of the northern heritage. And so really, yeah, we're looking at really similar energy to this card. How can you bring wealth, abundance, creativity? It's really the life force of creative energy, which Freya very much personifies. Freya's energy herself, she is the goddess of the surging spring-like warrior energy. She has a cat-driven chariot. So there's that mystery and magic as well in there. The primal erotic life force that brings all new beings into life in the spring. And her energy is the catalyst for that, along with the green one, or the green man here. Together they are a powerful energy for this new moon reading, I'd say. Powerful energy for healing and growth and bringing things into manifestation in your life, whether that's new patterns of behaviour, routines, stuff to do with the body or health, or whether it's literally how you connect with the landscape around you, or how you connect with others. And of course, if you have a project that's coming into being, this could be a great time for a new venture to be planned, to put the roots down into anything new that needs to manifest in a physical way or in an abundant way. So drawing abundance into your life creatively, it's a fantastic time for that. Okay, so I wish you luck with your creative journeys and your manifestation of abundance over the weeks ahead. So now I would like to finish just with a poem that I wrote this morning. Came to me in quite a revelatory way, as poetry often does for me. And so I hope it brings a little bit of joy and maybe some inspiration. It's very much a poem about interconnectivity of everything, of all life, and the kind of celestial, celestial power that runs through all life and all beings. the beauty of that. Our bones, made from imploded galaxies, peel away the layers of bark and drying snakeskin to encounter fresh waters, the veins of the land pulsating with the same energy that excites the heart. The dust of dying comets trembles gently in the intricacy of mothwing, the murmuration of starlings, living in the vision of the dreamer gathering firewood, the carbon of the ancestors, keeping our dreams warm. We incubate and rebirth under the wax and wane of moon, fueled by the giant star that warms spring soil, made from last year's dreams, yesterday's fires, today's storms. Mycelial threads weave the witch's vision of a dancing deer who ate the first mushroom cloaked in red and white. And by the beat of the drum, the rising of the tide, the falling of snow, another distant star shatters, implodes with white fire to reach us thousands and thousands of tiny particles, dancing in the auroras, knitting a new root, wing, claw, and bone. So thank you for spending a few moments with me here in this very cold but very cleansing, refreshing, wild garlic full, new seed full patch of wild woodland here in the Calder Valley. I'm sending you love and light for the weeks ahead, and you can find out more about me mainly on Facebook at the moment, my Roots and Resonance Facebook page, events, workshops, seasonal circles that I am running locally, and ideas that I'm dreaming up as I go along through the year. So please do keep in touch with me there, keep an eye on what I'm doing there if you're interested in local. Go gently through this liminal time, and may you dream well for this new moon.